Welcome to the segment where I review movies, past and present, examining them from a variety of perspectives, including the subjective, psychological, and personal. Informative and occasionally funny, this is LoganLand Rants. Welcome to LoganLand Rants, and today we're talking about the Terminator. I did a video essay about it earlier this week, and I am enjoying quarantine in my apartment right now. With all the coronavirus news that hit, it was bound that this would come up at some point. Just me being locked in my apartment, doing nothing. But I did have the chance to rewatch the Terminator, obviously. And it's great, yeah. Wish there was something else I could say about it. Right from the beginning, it gets you with, this cool sci-fi concept of, a futuristic world, and then we go to our present. Well, it was their present. It was 1984. Not to be confused with the novel that is also about a dystopia. Basically, the Terminator, a dystopian work, came out in 1984. It's funny how our perception of the future works, isn't it? But yeah, 1984... that year came and there was no dystopia, so James Cameron's like, you know what? Why don't I make another dystopian work? This one set in 2004. Our perception of the future is always going to be a little weird from our present. But this isn't to talk about the present and the future, this is to talk about Terminator. It's a very action-packed scene, I learned something recently, that there was apparently a novelization of the Terminator novel. Jeez. Where basically there's a scene where the lieutenant, one of the police guys, he dies when the Terminator blows up the police station, or, shoots up the police station, whatever you want to call it. You remember that part in the film, right? But there's a moment, supposedly, where the lieutenant finally believes Kyle Reese, Michael Bihn's character in that movie, and gives him a gun to take with him. But obviously that was kind of downplayed in the movie. And to be clear, Terminator is not based on a book. This was a book adaptation of the movie, which is ironic, because that's not really how that works a lot of the time. But I digress. Basically, the Terminator is definitely very tight, very efficient in its storytelling, and the final act of the film is just knocking down dominoes, and not even knocking down dominoes, but it's really, really tense, and you really want them to escape and the mother of the future to survive, And obviously I talked a lot about the pacing in my video essay, which I hope you have seen. And another argument I've heard is that it's basically a slasher movie with car chases, which is, not far off. The Terminator goes through all the Sarah Connors in the phone book, and when he lands on the final girl, she has to fight to survive, and she does so. I think it's pretty cool. Plus, she also fathers a kid who will save the future with a guy who hasn't technically been born at that point, which sounds really weird. Just so weird. That's actually kind of pointed out by John Connor in Terminator 2 when he's like, my dad hasn't been born yet. That's pretty weird. It's like he's having a stoner talk with Arnold's character. It's great. Obviously, I'm talking a little weird now because I have not talked confidently in a while. Because when you're feeling social isolation, it's pretty lonely. I'll leave it at that. And also, it's weird talking to my iPhone because, there isn't a lot that can be done. This isn't a conversation. Although, if you want to be a guest on my podcast, please DM me. I'd be open to that. But Terminator, it's paced well, the action slaps, and the characters you really care about. Like I said earlier, or maybe at some point to a friend, I don't even know if I've ever spoken publicly about it, James Cameron is not a subtle filmmaker. Avatar is about the environment, and from what I hear, Aliens is about being a mother. Don't mob me for not seeing Aliens, I'll see it eventually. But, I plan to watch more James Cameron movies. I've seen Avatar, I've seen Terminator 2, I've seen Terminator, And yeah, Titanic's just long, man. It's really, really long. But I do want to see it, and I will see it. And maybe I'll make another retrospective saying, like, wait, Terminator wasn't James Cameron's masterpiece. And you may notice that I left a clip from Dark Fate in the Terminator video essay when describing James Cameron's writing has declined a little bit. I don't think that's entirely his fault, but at the same time, Dark Fate, he didn't direct it, so that could have also been a factor. It was directed by the guy who made Deadpool, which I thought would make it good, but it didn't. And the other thing is, Avatar I didn't really think was that well written. Like, it had a solid action at points, and the effects were obviously revolutionary and well done, and it made like $2 billion, so I can't really argue with how that was done. But there's a lot of cool stuff James Cameron does, and I think ultimately that they are worth watching. Like, if you just Google, like, James Cameron directorial efforts and only look at the ones he directed, not the ones he produced or wrote, like Alita Battle Angel I heard was okay, but don't just watch Alita Battle Angel or the ones that he's produced and written. Watch the ones he directed and really analyze the craft, or you could just watch it for giggles. Because watching things for entertainment is good too. I'm not just a studious nerd who studies everything. But with that in mind, like, subscribe, pledge, usual stuff. Obviously listen to this. And I'll see you next week with another podcast and another video essay probably. Logan out.